From the air, the village appeared to be just another speck in the endless sea of green that blanketed the hills of Ireland. It looked quaint, even charming, with its thatched roof cottages and single pub, all nestled at the foot of a gnarled old oak. But looks were deceiving, because the inhabitants of this village had made a pact with a saint who demanded they eat only once per year. It was called Famine Fast, and it was celebrated on the night of the longest shadows, when the veil between the worlds was thinnest. That night, the villagers would feast like kings on a banquet fit for a god, or rather gods, plural. A festival that took place on the same day every year, the night of the longest shadows, when the veil between the worlds was thinnest. On that night, they fasted, but there was one rule: everyone had to eat until they were completely full, no matter how much they had consumed in the past. This was the only way to honor St. Patrick and ensure that the earth would continue to provide for them, or simply enjoy their company. And so it was that the villagers of Crookpatrick continued to celebrate Famine Fast every year. Each year, the villagers looked forward to this night with great anticipation. It was a time for them to come together as a community, to celebrate their heritage and to honor their patron saint. They welcomed the spirits of the Tuatha De Danann and feasted with them on the night of the longest shadows, praying for Patrick's blessing and waiting for the shadows to stretch out across the land. In fact, they welcome outsiders to join them in their celebrations. So if you ever find yourself in Crookpatrick on the night of the longest shadow, be sure to join the villagers in their feast. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think of this strange custom? Would you visit this village? Or if you have you? Let me know in the comments below. The children ran around the room. It helps us reach more people and keep our videos free. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified when we release new videos. Thanks for watching. Bye. And so it will be for many years to come. Every year, the villagers of Crookpatrick will gather together on the night of the longest shadow. They will fast all day and all night. The villagers of Crookpatrick have kept their traditions alive for centuries, and it is this sense of community and belonging that has allowed them to survive so long. And when the clock strikes 9, they will break their fast with a traditional Irish soda bread. They sang songs of St. Patrick and the Tuatha De Danann. They will eat and drink to their heart's content, and they will dance and sing and make merry. For on this night, the veil between the worlds is thinnest, and the old gods walk among the mortals. They told tales of the old gods and the old magic. They drank to the health of the priest and the prosperity of the village, shrieking with delight as they scooped up handfuls of sweets. But you will be made most welcome. And who knows, you may even learn something about yourself and your own culture in the process. Just be sure to eat everything in sight. After all, it is the only way to honor St. Patrick and the Tuatha De Danann. The adults sat in groups, swapping stories and jokes as they filled their plates, marking the thinning of the veil. It consisted of fish that fell from the sky, signaling the start of the night. By 10 o'clock, the table was groaning under the weight of the feast. There were platters of meat and fish, loaves of bread, and bowls of fruit. There were even jugs of cider and barrels of beer. The villagers broke their fast with the traditional Irish soda bread, which was blessed by the local priest. The priest also sprinkled holy water over the villagers and the food, driving out any evil spirits that might have tempted them to cheat during the year. Shellfish that crawled across land, fruits that tasted of pure starlight, and breads that shimmered like opals. Because there was one other thing about Famine Fast that set it apart from every other celebration in the Christian calendar. Curious about the strange goings-on and more than a little envious of the feast. And yet no one seemed to mind the injustice of it all. Not even those who came hungry, because the food didn't belong to them anyway. It belonged to the children of Danu, a night of feasting and celebration. A night when the veil between the worlds was thinnest, and the old gods walked among the mortals. For on this night, the barriers between the worlds were broken down, and the villagers could commune with the spirits of the Tuatha De Danann, the remnants of the old gods, who were cursed to hunger forever. According to legend, he fasted for 40 days and nights and emerged from his fast without so much as a bite of bread or drop of water. To prove his divinity, he offered up a prayer, and the earth responded by sprouting forth a great field of grain for the villagers. The saint they worshipped wasn't God, wasn't even human, and the feast they partook of each year was not earthly either. Now they were permitted to feast, but only once a year, and only on the night of the longest shadows, when the veil between the worlds was thinnest. It was an oddity that drew outsiders into the village. For generations, their only satisfaction came from watching others enjoy the bounty of the earth, while they went hungry. Not so anymore. On that night, they feasted on the remnants of the Tuatha De Danann, the remnants of a race of gods whose time had come and gone, but whose essence lingered on the edge of the mortal realm. This was the tradition of the Irish village of Croagh Patrick, where 2,000 years ago, a famine killed off most of the population, leaving only 200 survivors. And it was here, on the slopes of the mountain that inspired the modern Croagh Patrick, that a man named Patrick performed a miracle. To commemorate this miracle, the villagers held an annual festival in honor of Patrick. When the clock tower chimed 9 p.m., the men then put down their forks and went up to the church to pray, while the women remained in the hall to finish preparing the feast. No expense had been spared, and no one was forbidden to partake, so everyone ate and drank to their heart's content. There was music and dancing and laughter that night as the villagers celebrated the return of the feast. It was a night of merriment and good cheer. They could ask for their blessings, seek their guidance. For it was on this night that the veil between the worlds was thinnest and the old gods walked among the mortals. But it was also a time for them to remember the old gods, the Tuatha De Danann, and to keep their memory alive. They will pray to St. Patrick and ask for his blessing. In the end, this story is really about the power of tradition and the importance of community. Their feast may be strange, but it is their feast nonetheless, and they are not afraid to share it with others. You may not understand their customs or beliefs. This is the legend of the Irish village, where people eat only once a year. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button.